All right, so thank you, ladies, for joining me today. I'm Courtney Carter, graduate and former three-sport athlete at Williams High School. And now we're going to pass the mic, and you guys tell me your name, what school you're associated with, and what sports you coach.
Um, I'm Conda Curry. I coach girls basketball at Eastern Alamance. I'm also Eastern alumni, class of '02, and I was part of the '01 state runner-up team there.
I'm Amy Surratt, and I coach girls basketball at Southeast Alamance High School.
I'm Tracy Herring. I have coached volleyball at Graham High School, basketball at Graham High School, and softball at Graham High School. I've also coached volleyball JV at Southern High School, JV softball, and JV basketball at Southern High School.
I'm Caitlin Herbin. I coach softball at Williams now. I coached girls and boys soccer at Graham previously, as well as cross country. And then I graduated from Western High School, where I played softball and ran cross country.
My name is Sherry Pettiford. I'm the athletic director at Cummings High School. I also coach volleyball and softball at Cummings.
I'm Lauren Benz, assistant principal at Western Alamance. I coach cheer competitively. I have coached cheer in middle schools, and then I was a graduate of Cummings High School.
Nice. So let's jump in. What inspired you to pursue athletics, and how has it impacted your life?
So I played multiple sports growing up. I played soccer, softball, and I swam. I just did cross country to kind of stay in shape for the other three. I really loved it. I just like being on the field. I like the camaraderie, the team, the just like atmosphere of high school sports. Like I just really enjoyed it. I got into teaching. I was like, hey, how can I like make more of a difference as a teacher? So I went into coaching. And then I also had a daughter 2 years ago. So working with female athletes, kind of the if she can see it, she can be it kind of mindset. And just trying to like set the best example and give her the best examples to look up to as she grows up as well.
Love that. Anybody else have the answer?
I actually grew up playing sports, and then I had the opportunity. I was a three-sport athlete at high school, and then I was blessed with the opportunity to further playing sports in college, where I played basketball and softball. Sports has always been a part of my life, and I think it opened up many doors for me. I've developed lasting relationships. It just teaches you so many valuable lessons, just how to navigate through life. It's something I'm passionate about and something that I love. So, starting out as a little girl until now, I'm still in the atmosphere of athletics. I love the competitive nature. I love the team bonding. I love just anything that I can do to make it better than what it was before I got there.
Love that. So, knowing the impact sports has made in your life, how can we encourage more girls to participate in sports and overcome gender stereotypes?
I think that's the $1,000,000 question. How do we? We were just talking about that. These students have previously, female athletes have spent 2 years during COVID not doing anything. And then, I mean, that impacted with a lot of, maybe anxieties and fears. And how do we give them the courage and the strength to rise up and step out of their comfort zone? Um, we can talk about our experiences and how we got there, but the times are truly different from when we stepped out. Uh, I was kind of like pushed into it. It's kind of like, hey, you're going to do this. They got to have that support system. I think it does start at home. And then we support it at school by saying, hey, you don't have to be the best. You just have to try. And just give them that self confidence and the courage to step out of their comfort zone.
Anybody else want to add anything?
I'll go ahead. Um, I think also it's very, very important that kids at an early age have a positive experience. Uh, you know, it, when they're really, really young, it shouldn't be about win or losing. It should be about, hey, are we having a good time? Are we enjoying it? Because then I feel like they're going to come back. And even when you get into the middle school uh, age, I feel like if these kids, like if they have one bad experience, they're not going to try out or go out again. So I just think, you know, getting away from this competitive, especially at a young age.
As coaches, what role do coaches play in fostering confidence and leadership amongst female athletes?
I think coaches can play many different roles, and it's important for us to give them that opportunity to try, to let them know, like Tracy was saying, that it's okay to fail, but you have to at least try. And I think she's right. Like after COVID, things have been a little bit different, and some are scared to try. And if they do fail, they don't want to try again. So giving them that opportunity, whether it's teachers in the classroom, whether it's just coaches, like we have to push them a little bit more. If they're not getting that extra push at home, like we have to help push. So we have to help guide them.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else have anything to add to that one? So we've seen significant strides in women's sports, gaining more attention and recognition. How do you feel about the increased visibility of female athletes?
I think it's really interesting and like refreshing to see things the way they are now. Even people just talking about the College World Series in softball. Like I have a class right now that has 8 football players in it out of like 20, and they're sitting around talking about the softball games they watched last night. And I've heard some of my younger boys, especially, say stuff like Caitlin Clark when they shoot something into the trash can instead of
That's
Kobe.
big.
And like,
That is big.
that's look, a win is a win.
Yes.
So it's just really refreshing to like see that level of respect for female athletes rising. I think it's really opened the doors to a lot of conversations about like what women athletes and women's sports in general can accomplish. There's been a lot of rhetoric at Williams, especially around girls in the weight room, with my team specifically, and the amount that my girls can lift compared to some of the junior, senior football players, and that they're just waxing them in the weight room.
I love that.
And it's just like really been a positive conversation to kind of fuel back and forth just the growth of female athletics and the positive, I don't know, impact, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just speaking from like women's basketball, when I was growing up, it was kind of popular like it is now. It was Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, Rebecca Lobo, those type of athletes. And I feel like now, college basketball is like way better than men's basketball to watch, girls wise, So even like the media has said that, this many viewers versus the boys. So I think that's a big thing, as far as like just that inspiration. They can see these athletes, like you said, we can talk about it like what we did when we was growing up or who we saw, but now they actually can see it. And it's I think that's what drives them. Some of them, like speaking in the weight room, like Michaela Thompson. I've known her since she was like elementary, and I had the opportunity to coach her in middle school, and I had the opportunity to coach her senior year in high school, and she's like one of the top eagles in the weight room as well. So it's like, and they say like, those girls are really strong, So I can just say that like what's going on now with women's sports is really like inspiring to the young adults.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you all have anything? Okay. All right. So, speaking of visibility, in what ways do you think media coverage of women's sports has evolved, and what impact does this have on aspiring female athletes?
Kind of back to what I said earlier about my own daughter. If they can see it, then they feel like they can be it. Representation matters across the board, whether it's athletics or race, religion, however you want to look at it. Representation is important. Showing little girls that they can do things like play on a national stage, play in the World Series, go to the Olympics. That's important. Giving them the opportunity to see themselves as something more than a homemaker or whatever. Just giving them that viewpoint, that focal point to look at and set their goals on.
Anybody want to add to that? As female coaches, we are always advocating for ourselves, but how can male athletes and coaches become better allies and advocates for women's sports and gender equality in athletics? I see the bulb going off, and I'm like,
I, I can speak from experience. I was very, very blessed in that my first coaching job, a male boys basketball, male basketball coach hired me as his JV boys basketball coach. And I just think you don't see that. You see it some, but you don't see it often. You've seen it in college a little bit. Rick Pitino hired a female back, I don't know how many years ago. I think trusting females to take on some of these coaching positions more is definitely a big thing.
yeah. Anybody else? All right. Sorry.
I was gonna say not just with the coaching, but having other coaches point out the athletes. Looking at Western, we had our girls just make it to the fourth round of the playoffs, and the amount of staff, the amount of students that were there supporting our girls. It was really impressive. I mean, we had a big student section. I mean, there was a bunch of boys standing there. Just watching them support the girls was really impressive because you don't always see them, you don't always see the student section at all of the other games. And so to see them there supporting them was really impressive.
So, coming up on our last question, as coaches, how do you hope to inspire the next generation of girls to pursue their athletic dreams, regardless of gender stereotypes and societal expectations?
I'm a former special education EC teacher, and I always had the motto that some of our greatest successes come from our biggest failures. And so you have to learn how to embrace that failure, get up, and make it to the next level. I can say when I went to Elon, I was a three-sport athlete at Southern Alliance, as well as basketball and softball. I had 11 out of 12 conferences, 3 Player of the Years. But when I went to Elon, you're a little fish in a big sea. And it was very difficult, a lot of challenges. And I could have either folded or I could have rose to the occasion. So I had to change my thought process on what I wanted to accomplish as that female athlete and how was I going to get that playing time. And it was no longer me just sacrificing the practice time. It was putting in the extra all the way around. So I really do think that it's just a matter of embracing that failure, embracing the opportunity that hasn't come to you yet, knowing that you're going to make it to that opportunity.
Love that. Thank you.
Well, I think it's like a culmination of everything that we've shared throughout this time. Everything from our experiences and telling our athletes things that now that we've already known that women's sports were great ever since we started. And now it's like everyone is catching on because it's everywhere you look. You see Caitlin Clark, you see Dawn Staley, you see Sha'Carri Richardson, you see so many athletes in different sports doing wonderful things, and they're also out in the community. So we already knew those things were great, and so now everybody's catching on. So things like our experiences, the things you see in the media, and also making the space safe enough for our girls to fail, like Tracy said, and also having that comfort and instilling that self-esteem for them to rise up from failures, because that's the only way you're going to learn and grow and to continue to push forward. Just being resilient, and just, and learning the great things about what it means to actually be involved in a great thing called sports and how that just transforms your life. I think we're in a great place and it's moving in the right direction. And I think if we continue to do that and build upon those things that we've already been doing, I think sports for females is going to soar.
Thank you. Next question, I want all of you all to answer in, in one word. How would you describe the future of women's sports?
One word. I'm gonna use the word great. Simple and sweet. Great.
In one word. Okay. Exciting.
I think undescribable.
What y'all gonna say on this side?
Right.
I was gonna say exciting, but I think maybe promising.
Dominating.
Unexpected.
I love that. I want to thank you all for joining me today, and I also want to mention that this project was female driven, to highlight the incredible achievements of women in sports. So I thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you.